Oh my God, I am live. It always catches me kind of like unexpected. I just I can't get used to this, but I will. I will. Well, hello. Well, I have to do my token. Hi, I'm astrologer and life coach Penny Dix. Welcome to my live stream for everything you need to know about the new moon in Gemini, which is on the 17th on the west coast. I think I've got that right, of America. And it's on the 18th on the east coast and here in Europe. So it hasn't actually happened yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the energy of this new moon. I think the energy has been a little bit tricky. And please let me know in the comments if you've also found the energy a bit tricky and the energy of this new moon, because it's Gemini. It's about communication, but it's also the kind of energy that can have us overthinking and ruminating and seeing things kind of not clearly as they are. So, hi, Poonam, welcome. I will come to your questions later. Please ask me questions. At odd times, I will check the live chat and come back to you. And actually, before I go any further, I do actually want to say something about some of the comments I've been receiving on some of the videos, because I think it's really important for all of you to understand that when a planet is in transit, when it goes back and forwards across a certain point in your own natal chart, it's really, really important not to get hung up on the fact that, for example, oh my God, Saturn is coming back and it's going to be conjunct my sun again in Pisces, for example, because let's take Saturn as an example to start with, because Saturn is about timing. It's also about structure. It slows everything down. It's a teacher planet. It makes us look closely at things. And what happens is that these planets, they move into a new sign, like we've got Saturn in Pisces. It's reached the point of 7 degrees. Today, it's going retrograde. It's actually not retrograde just yet, but it's kind of standing still and it's almost there, and it's kind of like screeching to a halt to go retrograde. Now, one of the comments, and this is why it's brought this up for me, was, oh my God, does that mean I've got to go through another 6 months of this really challenging, difficult energy? My point is, when a planet starts to go retrograde again, and it's in a significant part of your chart, what it's doing is it's actually trying to give you a second chance, a clue as to how you can make things a little bit different this time. It's like you've gone so far down this path, now it's going to move backwards and it's going to say, okay, let's try this again. Let's see where we go from here. Let's look at this energy and really see if we can tweak it. By the third transit, because usually they go back and forwards about 3 times in their kind of journey around the sun. So by the third transit, they bring the result. And if you have done the work required of the planet concerned, you will reap the benefit and the reward of what is implied by it. So please don't be freaked out or feel bogged down, dragged down by the energies of these outer planets when they retreat. For instance, we've also got Pluto that is now back in Capricorn in its retrograde phase. Same thing. Remember, Pluto is going to stay back in Capricorn to the end of 2024. till the end of January 2024. It will move forward into Aquarius, and then it'll go back into Capricorn. That third visit back to Capricorn before it finally moves into Aquarius at the end of 2024 will be where we start to have the opportunity to reap what we've sown, to get the reward of the energy that it is trying to convey to us. And remember, as Pluto has moved through Capricorn, Pluto has been really working hard to tear down the old ways of doing things, to really tear down the kind of energy that has been around, the traditional ways of doing things, the traditional institutions, the traditional way of governing. And this is what is really being required of the planet over the next kind of 20 years, is to completely redraw the map, to reframe how we govern our planet collectively and not independently and separately. So let's just have a look before I go on to the new moon energy. And it's lovely to see so many of you here already. A big welcome to you. Thank you so much. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hey, what about the fact that I have had 1 million views of my videos collectively on my channel? I am absolutely super thrilled, and it's because of you. And thank you so much. And I love the way we kind of work with this kind of energy, with this harmony. And I just really, really, it means so much that you all support me. And I want to come to Joanna. And you are saying, hi, Penny, I'm Aries with Libra rising. Since the 15th of this month, I'm having terrible, crazy time because I'm losing everything, like Apple Watch that is in my house as per tracing. But my God, Joanna, nowhere to be found. This is only one of the examples. What is going on? Okay, what is going on? Well, you know, if it's lost, maybe it's because you're meant to be actually relying on your own resources and not relying on this thing, which I too have. And, you know, we can become a little bit dependent. I mean, I used to get really paranoid about, oh, I don't know, my heart and all those kind of things that you do when you get older, because I'm getting on a bit. And so I was constantly checking my pulse. Am I still here? Am I still alive? I mean, actually, in my situation, it was actually really helpful because I'd check it and I think, oh, it's fine. So I kind of got out of that kind of quite easily. So I just say that as a kind of, you know, by the by. But let's come to this new moon energy, because that's what you're all here for. And I'd just like to say good evening to those of you in Central Europe where I am. It is just gone 6 o'clock in the evening. So I'm having a little tiny whipsy tipsy whiskey. And I'd like to say good afternoon to those of you in the UK where you may still be having your cup of tea. And I'd also like to say, I hope you're all enjoying your lunchtime, late brunch or early lunch on the eastern coastboard of America. And in the Pacific, or on the Pacific coastline, cheers. And why not a whiskey with your coffee? I don't see what's wrong with that. So cheers. Right, now let's get down to business, because okay, the new moon falls in my 9th house, trining my Mercury, Uranus conjunction in 1st house, Libra. I've been dealing with my social introversion since childhood. Well, listen, this new moon is not particularly, it's having rooibos iced tea with a splash of whiskey. I love it. Listen, right. This new moon, let me tell you what this new moon is about, because it may answer some of the questions that you're answering in the chat. So let's just give a little bit of attention to the energy. Now we're really kind of here and collecting viewers and seeing where we're going. The new moon is in Gemini. Gemini is about communication. It also is about how we think. It's about our thinking energy. We can get caught very much into overthinking with Gemini energy. And not only is the new moon in Gemini, but also its ruling planet Mercury. Mercury, our planet of communication, is in Gemini in this part of the chart. So we have not only the new moon, but Mercury as well. What I wanted you to think about is what's going on in your own lives. And the reason I'm going to ask you this is because have you been offered anything different lately? Has a business proposition perhaps been put to you? Has something of a kind of an interesting nature popped up in your life? Because this new moon, in spite of it being a new moon, which is good to initiate new things, remember it's mutable energy. Now, mutable energy means it's flexible, which can also mean we're really not sure which way to go. So if something has appeared in your lives over the last few days, which is interesting about something you could get involved in over the next kind of few weeks, months, or even years, what you have to think about is my intuition in tune with this and giving me either a yes answer or a no answer? Or is my thinking getting in the way and overthinking this whole issue? Because that is some of the kind of problems that can come up with this energy. You may be wanting to initiate some new creative project in your career or just in your life in general. And the fact that Neptune, our planet of illusion, dreams, of confusion, is making this hard square to the new moon in Gemini, says, wait, be patient. Don't rush into anything don't rush into anything, because sometimes, you know how we say, oh God, I've had this wonderful opportunity, but I'm not sure. Maybe it seems too good to be true. Well, maybe it is too good to be true, but maybe it's not. But the problem with this energy is at the moment we're not going to know because of that Neptune square to the new moon. So my kind of suggestion with this energy is that if there is something like that going on in your kind of environment or life, it's very much about waiting and being patient with the not knowing whether your thinking is accurate or whether your intuition is accurate, and trusting and having faith that as time passes, some sign will come, some signal will come from the universe, from the divine, that will actually point you in the right direction, whatever that direction is for you. So my advice with this new moon is don't make any rash or life-changing decisions. Even though, as I say, it's a new moon, which is about bringing new things in. It's about, it really kind of sowing the seeds of anything positive that we want to bring into our lives. There really is a sense with this energy that we have to take a few steps backwards and just look at the bigger picture. Now, the new moon in my chart, which if you go to the video I've already done about the new moon, where I go through each of your individual zodiac signs, you'll see a picture of the new moon. And I talk about the energy of the new moon in more detail. This was really because I wanted to have a personal conversation with you all to find out where you are. And people are drinking coffee and Kahlua, and goodness knows what else they're drinking, but I'm drinking whiskey. And what I want to say is that this energy in the chart, the Gemini moon is in what we call an inverted house. So I use tropical Placidus. So you've got Cancer on the ascendant, you've got Taurus on the cusp of the 12th, and you've got this squeezed in sign of Gemini. So it's intercepted in the 12th house. Now, the 12th house, as we know, is about the inner you. It's about our psyche. It's about where we can feel restricted, where we can feel imprisoned, often because it's Gemini, by our own thoughts. So, tea in Rhode Island, cheers to you, Mimini, fantastic. I'm still sticking to my whiskey. So, this intercepted house of Gemini is saying one very clear thing: shut up, shut up, shut up. Now, I do not in any way mean that with disrespect or in a rude way. It is actually meant to guide and help you. If you have new ideas, new dreams, new plans, this is not the time to reveal them. This is the time to let the seeds grow beneath the earth, waiting for better cosmological weather for them to bear fruit. So this is not the time to tell everyone, Gemini, communication, about your ideas and your plans. Keep it to yourself, because when we reveal secrets or ideas or inspirations too soon, it's like they get diluted. Not like my whiskey, though, that doesn't get diluted. They get kind of dissipated. This Neptune squaring this intercepted house of Gemini is saying, I'm going to keep these all kind of, you just can't see, because it's not the right time. So if any of you are going through a situation where you have something new you want to launch, somebody maybe has made you an offer that you find very exciting and interesting, really it serves you well to wait and not make any decision one way or the other. Just wait in the dark. You know what we have to do when we are in the dark and we can't see where we are going? We have to have faith, because faith is like our bridge to where we need to get to. Now, that little piece of wisdom that I've just given you, I got from the wonderful metaphysician, and I have to credit her, Florence Scovel Shinn. She wrote in 1926 the most amazing little booklet called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And what she talks about is, when you're in the dark, don't worry. Be in it. Embrace it. Thank you, Sylvia. Yes, beautiful book. Because if we have faith and we're patient, the universe will come along. You see, we have to be in harmony with that flow. The divine will step in and say, actually, it's this way. And all the time you might have been thinking, I think it's that way. I think it's that way. Overthinking it's that way. I think I'm overthinking it's that way. And the universe comes in and goes, it's this way. And when you see it's that way, it becomes clear. Yes, Penny Hudson, the book, The Game of Life, is wonderful. She had a magic well beyond her generation. And I love the fact that she called herself a metaphysician. And if you haven't seen the book, and I ought to have a sponsorship, I think, from Amazon, because you can get it on Amazon. And so Amazon, if you're watching, do you want to sponsor me for this book? Because you can get it on Amazon. It's a tiny little thin little book. And I found it a little bit difficult to get into it to start with, because, of course, it was written in 1926. So the kind of writing is very dated. And I had to be very patient with myself and think, no, this book has been highly recommended to me. Just stick with it. Read it. So you can get it on Amazon. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. And what I love about her work is the way she encourages us to get out of our own way, to get out of the way of our mind, of our thinking, because that is so often where we trip ourselves up. Now that segues us beautifully back into this new moon energy, because this new moon is about having faith. Faith in the dark. The 12th house is almost like that kind of darkness that we find ourselves in, where we just can't see the way through. This new moon is saying, stay with that. And it will actually become clear at the right time. And that's another thing I want to say. If there is anything that you're ruminating about at the moment to do with something maybe you want to initiate or you've been offered to do, when you get that signal from the divine that it's either a yay or a nay, you will know, you will be absolutely certain, you will know what is the way to go. And the thing is, if it's not the thing you're currently thinking about, that's fine, because it's because you're trusting the universe, and the universe is clearing the way for what is really meant for you to come in. So have faith in the fact that the divine has your back, and the universe will provide the signposts, the signals, the messages to point us in the right direction. Yes, Tanya, The Secret Door to Success. Yes, she wrote a whole series of books. You can actually get her collected works in one volume. And while we're on this subject, there's also a very good book called The Science of Getting Rich. And I'm going to forget what his name is. It's I'm going to Google it very quickly because it's really, really good. The Science of Getting Rich. If anyone knows, please tell me. The Science of Getting Rich. He's got a very funny name. And this again was written, here we go. It's by, Science of Getting Rich. It's by, what's his name? Wattles. Wattles, what a wonderful name. I think it's something like Howard D. Wattles. So Wallace Wattles. Oh God, and I haven't even, Wallace D. Wattles. I've just got it up here on Amazon. And it is a very, very helpful book. And, one of the big things that we get wrong when we're working with the law of attraction, I know we're kind of drifting off the new moon a bit, but I think it's all relevant. I always trust the way that the universe is directing me. And I can see that Cheryl also bought the book some time back. It is a difficult book to get into initially. It's I'm not particularly religious, but I'm spiritual, and the way she wrote it back in those days was very from a kind of religious kind of viewpoint, and I have no problem with that. But I did at the time when I read it, because I thought, oh, I don't get this, I don't understand this. And then suddenly, by the end of about the first chapter, I thought, oh my God, I've got it. I know what she means. I've actually got it. And the amazing thing is, once you get it, it changes your life. Once I realized all I had to do was get out of my own way and stop this getting in my way all the time, you know what? Everything started flowing through me and to me. And, what can I say? I've seen people like myself in positions of, say, having a certain amount of success. And I thought, oh, how do they get there? How do they do that? How does that happen? And, when I started this channel, I'd already got the channel, but when I actually started putting videos on it back in 2020, in June 2020, I had no idea it would unfold in the way it has. And this has been just the most amazing experience for me, because what I've discovered is that when you work with this flow of divine energy, it really is on your side, and it will give you detours, it will give you course directions. You just have to pay attention to the course direction that you're being given. And I seem to be giving a lecture on the law of attraction now, but maybe that's not beyond what the energy of the new moon is about, because it's a new moon in Gemini. Gemini is about duality. And there has to be kind of there has to be the yin and the yang, the masculine, the feminine. In this event chart for the new moon, we've got, remember, Venus and Mars in Leo together. They're in the third house, which, of course, remember, it's Leo, but it's a Gemini house. So it's about communication. This is about balance. If you find yourself later or over the weekend in a deep conversation with your significant other, or a very good friend, or even a family member, try active listening. Because this new moon is kind of like you might forget to listen to what is being said to you, because sometimes what we do is, and I know you all know this, we don't really listen. We just hear what the other person's saying and we're formulating our reply. And then actually what we do is we give our reply, and we're not really having a conversation. We're actually having a kind of a stilted dialogue. So this is also a new moon about active listening. Sit down with someone you love today and tomorrow. Listen to what they have to say. And sometimes we don't want a solution all the time. And it's a really interesting thing. And this is more with men. Men tend to only feel useful if they're giving a solution. And bless them, that's the way they're built. Women, less likely to need to always give a solution. But actually, what often we want? I know it's what I want sometimes. I just want someone to listen to me, to hear me. And I'm sure you do too, because let's face it, we're not silly. We actually know what our own personal solutions are. lose weight, do more exercise, do this, do that. Speaking personally. So, yes, there's someone saying that she tells her mental health clients this all day. And thank you, AGL. I'm really super glad I started this channel too, but thank you so much. What's this one? The 80-20 rule. Allow the other person to talk 80% and you 20%. I love it. Thank you, Poonam. Yes, we all want to be heard. And sometimes we have to really work hard at getting our voice across. And this new moon, in spite of the fact I was saying it's also about keeping quiet, it may also be about being quiet so that you hear the other. So that kind of flips the energy. And maybe it's your time to listen to what the other is saying. You know, show me a politician who listens. I don't know anyone who listens. They have their own agendas and off they go. And how will this new moon affect what's going on the planet at the moment? Well, it would help if they all listened to each other, but that probably ship sailed a long time ago, sadly. Before I start to look at a few more of your comments, because I really want to interact with you a bit, I just want to mention about Pluto. Remember that Pluto is now retrograde and Saturn is retrograde when we have this new moon. So we've got two of these major planets retrograde. Neptune, the planet of confusion, illusion, delusion, infusion, goes retrograde on the 30th of this month. And I'll do a separate heads up about that. And that's in Pisces. And what I want to say is the energy at the moment we're going to go through 2 or 3 months really where the energy will start to kind of slow down a bit, which I think will be quite nice, certainly for all of us up here in the Northern Hemisphere where we have summer and school holidays and holiday season. For those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, I don't know, maybe you have to cozy up round a log fire or whatever, however the temperature is treating you down there. And let me now just see what some of you have been saying. So, right. So Susie is saying she hopes certain truths come out. Well, let me have a look at that because, you know, Neptune can be about deception and secrets and lies, but it's squaring this new moon. I guess if we listen between, it's like, you know, when we say when we read between the lines, if we listen between the words, maybe then we actually hear the truths. And maybe that's something of the nature of this particular new moon. You know, the next lunar event will be the full moon in Capricorn on the 3rd of July. And I will do a live for that as well. And, you know, it's interesting. We've got the energy going back to the sort of the Capricorn Cancer axis, because Capricorn, of course, is where we've had so much activity over so many years. And this is about the traditional way of running the planet. This is what has to change. If it doesn't change, then we really have more serious problems than we already have. And I think that the whole question of kind of ecology, of just being mindful of each other, you know what would really help is if we all showed respect to each other. People who have been, I think the pandemic made a lot of people very insular. I know for myself, I've kind of sort of thought I quite like being home and just ordering things online. And it's made some of us probably lazy because we don't go out and interact with others. And it's so important to interact with others. So, any more questions while I'm still here? Let's see, look at this one. I like to think of faith as a mighty oak tree. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. One acorn in the earth. That's beautiful. Yes, Martha, respect starts at home. And actually that lays at the feet of most of us women as well, in how we bring up our children, how we bring up our sons to treat women with respect, and how we bring up our daughters to value themselves and have good self-esteem. So, yes, you're right, Meknos. We're going back through the industrial revolution phase, leaning more on technology than on each other. I think that is a very valid point. And I do feel it's so important that we actually, what is going to happen at the end of 2024? I'll just talk about this before I kind of bring things to a conclusion, because I've already talked for 36 minutes. Can you believe? No, you probably can believe it, because I could go on all night, but I'm not going to. When Pluto finally moves into Aquarius for real, at the end of 2024, then what is going to happen is that the focus of all of us is going to be kind of put on the collective community at large. And what this is going to do is it's going to mean that we have to be much more mindful of each other. We have to be much more mindful of how our energy affects others. You all know that feeling when someone comes into your space, how uncomfortable it is. Some people can tolerate people coming quite close in their space. I know I can't. I like people to keep their distance. That's probably why I love working online, because I don't have to have physical presence there. But Aquarius is going to raise human consciousness. It is going to evolve. We are collectively going to be able to tune in to frequencies that we've never had access to before. We are going to have much more ability to work with kind of psychic thoughts and precognition. And I think that all of these kind of areas, let's say like mediumship, astrology, precognition, psychic phenomena, through the next 20 years of Pluto and Aquarius, will become much more mainstream. You know how in the news, they're now feeding out so much more information. They're just kind of throwing it in about, oh, a UFO landed in that field yesterday. And as if, well, yes, we'll just give that 4 lines on the bottom of the, the end of the program kind of thing. It's like we're being drip fed kind of information that perhaps the powers that be want us to have, which I think, that's a whole nother issue, a whole other subject. But if we come back to the whole area of how powerful our brain is, how powerful our brain is in connection with our human consciousness. The two working in harmony have the most amazing ability to connect through a kind of a web, it's kind of like a mental or a psychic web, a psychological web, not an internet web, but literally we will have a mental web that we can bypass all the technology. And I think when that all starts to happen, It's going to be super exciting. Well, I think I will draw this to a close. I just want to say thank you so much, everybody. And everyone's saying happy birthday to Wanda. So I'm going to say happy birthday to Wanda too. And you have your birthday on a new moon. How lovely is that? So new beginnings for you. Please, as I always ask for, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends about us, all of that kind of stuff. And just to let you know that the Whiskey and Bagels episodes that I do with Brandon Russ, if you are following those, they're all on his channel now. We decided to separate it out. It was getting a bit confusing on my channel, his channel, everyone's channel. So they're all on his channel. We don't have an episode next week because he's in the Bahamas, lucky man. And also I'm going to be doing the July. I wasn't going to do the July. I wasn't going to do the monthly horoscopes for each sign. Well, of course, you can't keep a Taurian down. I just couldn't let go. So what I'm doing is, how I've done for June. I did these really quick, short heads ups, like 2.5 minutes long. Well, they're going to be the same, but I'm going to do them at about probably 4 minutes. But it'll be like 5 key points, 5 key dates, 5 areas of your life you need to focus on for July. So I feel really excited about that. I think it's just a great way to do it. So I'm going to do that this time. So I'm going to record those very soon, and then I'll do my live for the month of July. I think I'm doing it, just let me check so you know. I'm doing it literally on the 1st of July, Saturday the 1st of July. I will do my live for the month of July. And so in the meantime, I just want to say thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for the wonderful interaction we have on all the videos, because it's just lovely. And I just feel like I kind of know some of you personally because the same names keep popping up. And it's just lovely to see you all. And oh gosh, I'm seeing all these wonderful names and it's just lovely. And thank you so much. I'll stop wittering now. I'm going to wish you all a wonderful Saturday, a wonderful weekend. Go about your daily life safely, carefully. Be mindful, be respectful of others. And remember, new moon in Gemini, don't overthink. Let it go for the next few days. This too shall pass. I will see you next time. Bye for now.